Yes, Cinder, a remix of Dark Souls 3 by Rotaka. Folks, you know what that song means.
I do.
Oh, good. I'm glad at least one of us
91
does.
rounds.
Every month. Oh my god,
It
it is
is
round
time.
91. Oh.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, it
Think
sure
about
is. Oh, I am thinking about it and I feel extremely old. But hey, what else is new though?
Well, you are.
I know. You're not supposed to wait. You're not supposed to agree.
Too bad. Welcome, everybody. This is round 91 of Insert Credits. This is a show that MrBond and I have been doing since 2014, wherein we talk about game news and remixes that happened over the last who knows how long, because it could maybe not be from this last month. We also design games. We talk about the things we've been playing, all sorts of stuff. Not in order, of course.
No.
But
sometimes we might mix up the order, but welcome everybody. I am MrBond.
And I'm Tormod, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, that's what it says under your picture there. If you're watching the multimedia stream, you are labeled as Tormod, so hopefully that's correct. If not, I've got some changes to make. Housekeeping. Yeah, housekeeping. Round 92 will be scheduled for July. Currently the 16th, which still seems to be open for me, so that's
same.
Good. And then 93 in August. The 13th. Oh, of course, right. The 13th. Friday the 13th.
Exactly. It's not on the calendar yet, but that's when we were talking about it.
It isn't. You're right, but I do need to send out the invites for it. It's on my calendar, which is why
I got you.
It was. All right, so then
Friday the 13th, though.
Yep, it's natural. We just kind of got to do it. Like, it's the law.
We have to. It's a holiday.
Yeah. And then that puts us out to 94 in September, which is looking like the 17th, perhaps?
I'm kind of thinking that, yep.
Okay, very good.
And that puts us at the end of summer.
Oh, no. It just started. Please, no.
I know. Actually, it hasn't even started yet.
I mean...
It's in like 4 or 5 days.
That's true. So like the 21st or the 22nd, right? Is the...
Why do I not have that on my calendar? That's weird.
I don't know. But anyways, that takes care of scheduling out the new shows. We can get right into the news since we are perfect at segueing to different segments tonight, apparently. Well, let's start off with the genesis of the round title. Facebook is expanding its use of ads in AR and VR and tying it to social media use. Surprising no one. So I don't know how long ago it was that we first covered the Facebook acquisition of Oculus, but I believe way back then we were both extremely skeptical about it being good in the long run. And gee, well, I hate to say we told you so, but we did tell you so, and this is a real shitty move.
Many years ago.
Yeah. Who wants to see ads in AR and VR? No.
Absolutely nobody.
Put your hands down. No, nobody does. Like, no.
Exactly.
So I already, like, after Facebook acquisition of Oculus, I already kind of wrote that off as a headset I would never ever buy, and this kind of proves me right. But that's unfortunate. But there are some other good ones out there. You know, you got the Vive and the Valve Index, and some of the standalone ones. HP's one isn't bad. Even Microsoft's HoloLens isn't too bad, right? So it's
Lenovo has something that's actually pretty solid right now. I don't know what the name of it is, but Valve Index is the one that everybody's flying to right now.
Yeah, that seems to be the
Vive I have. Cosmos, I think.
Yeah. So there's the original Vive, and then Vive, the next gen was Cosmos, right? And yeah, so there's
not
it's the
Cosmos Elite. That's the one that we have because it came with Half-Life Alyx.
Oh,
right?
nice,
anyway.
nice. Yeah. So there's not for lack of choice out there. So the Oculus line of things is not the only VR headset you can get. So please do not get it if you were thinking about it, because Facebook, and you require a Facebook account to access your shit. And they're putting ads in there now, so lots to stay away from.
Yeah, maybe don't touch it at all.
Yeah, don't even. Like, I won't tell you to not. Well, no, that's not true. I will tell you to not use Facebook as well, just purely. But you know, you make your own decisions. But do stay away from the Oculus side of things because ads. It's the closest thing you'll get to ads being injected directly into your eyeballs.
So at what point are we going to get a uBlock Origin for VR?
Right. Well, it can't happen too soon at this point now.
Yeah, absolutely.
The arms race will continue, until morale improves. But speaking of improving morale, let's get some happy news in here. Some old 3.5-inch floppy disks from 26 years ago were recovered, containing Earthbound translations and dialogue before it was cleaned up for its production release. Right? Okay. So some of these gems in the dialogue include some, I guess, racy at the time dialogue. Stuff that family-friendly Nintendo would never let pass. So it's interesting to read up on some of those. I won't repeat them here because it's fun to just go look up and read them yourself. But it's interesting that 26 years later, that a little magnetic disc is still in good enough condition to be read. And these were files recovered after being deleted too off that disc. So that's interesting. Yeah, so very good. Magnetic media, definitely proven at least 26 years longevity. Of course, magnetic tape is considered a long-term bit of storage as well. But very interesting nonetheless that people find these things and then are able to recover things off of them. And it turns into these long-lost gems like old stuff from Earthbound. Lovely, lovely, lovely. A sort of another legacy game thing, perhaps not as positive. But you remember, how long ago was that now? Like maybe 3 or 4 months ago, when there was the announcement that Atari was back, first of all, and releasing a VCS console. Well, that is now launched as of, let's see, the 15th, which would be 3 days ago.
Okay, so it's not vaporware.
It isn't. However, it's priced at $300. So that seems a little high for a retro console of the Atari era that comes with not much to it, on top of $300 being the base model. So you can pay even more for an upper echelon model. But gee bus. Let's see the hardware that you get with this. There's a 512 gigabyte PCIe SSD, a custom SoC based on AMD Zen 2 and RDNA 2 for GPU. Okay. So
it's not an Atari per se.
Right. That's a lot of power. Oh wait, I was reading the different. Oh shoot, I was reading the specs on the PS5.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. Never mind. The Atari VCS, on the other hand, uses an AMD Ryzen R1606G embedded APU.
I've never even heard of that SKU.
Right? So probably
is that Zen?
A relatively bargain bin Ryzen chip to handle both CPU and GPU. Boy howdy, let's see. Does this article tell me, like, what games do you get with it? I don't think it does.
Hopefully something.
It does not. This particular article does not say, but it does come preloaded with some stuff. Okay, here we go. Includes a built-in vault, in quotes. I don't know why the scare quotes are there. Containing 100 retro Atari 2600 and arcade games. So, okay. For $300, you're paying $3 a game. I guess that's all right.
For a glorified emulator.
For an emulator on a budget CPU, GPU, and a very... I mean, the design of it looks all right, I guess. It's got the classic Atari plastic grill and some faux wood paneling on it, so it's definitely a product of its age. And it comes with a classic Atari joystick with single button, and it looks like a very Xbox-looking like controller as well. So there's something. Base Onyx system is priced at $300, blah, 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 blah. But the all-in bundle includes the joystick and the wireless modern controller. That goes for $400. Oh dear. Oh dear. And for $400, well, at least for MSRP, you can get the PS5 digital edition, which is what I was reading the PCIe SSD from before.
And that's all this thing is anyway.
Exactly.
Digital edition.
I don't know who would buy this. Somebody with a lot of nostalgia and a lot of money. Probably more nostalgia than money, but still. I guess that's good. It turned into something. It didn't just kind of blow away on the wind, but whew, $300 for that thing seems It's not for me. It's not for me.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
glad it exists. I was kind of hoping to have more to report on the whole Epic v Apple fight as well, but nothing really super jazzy kind of jumped out at me in the past month. So I'm guessing they're
Same.
still going through the rigmarole of the standard legal stuff and subpoenas and depositions and more legal paperwork back and forth, but nothing that made the mainstream or even the niche outlets stand up and take notice. So we're not going to take notice either, and hopefully wait for next month to bring us a better suite of things. And beyond that, we had E3, which it looks like you're going to cover most of. So please proceed.
I only covered the stuff I cared about.
That's good enough.
Okay, fine. Alrighty then. So, well, Metroid Dread, a thing that was kind of talked about, sort of, had some in-dev screenshots kind of leaked over the years and just it never came to fruition. Yeah, apparently it's real. And apparently Nintendo actually detailed how it was going to be a thing and then not, and then their development struggles and stuff. Okay, that's fine, I guess. But yeah, it's actually a 2D side-scrolling Metroid game that's going to come out. And people are upset, I guess, a little bit, because it's not Metroid Prime 4. It's not a new action-y Metroid game. It's side-scroller. So I like it, but a lot of people are like, what the hell? We've been waiting for this thing that you've been sort of kind of teasing for the longest time, and then you give us this.
Yeah, the couple screenshots I saw of it looked all right.
Like, I thought so too, but it kind of reminded me of that, like, don't you have phones moment? So
yeah, okay, that's fair.
A little bit, yeah. So
what kind of tweaked me about it a little bit too was that it's set after Metroid Fusion, which actually I kind of liked, because a lot of people tend to forget that Metroid Fusion exists, or they acknowledge it exists, but they try to imply that it's not part of the canon storyline or something, even though I really kind of like the story of it. So it's like, I'm
not familiar.
I don't know. Like the entire the entire Metroid series is one of the better ones, I think, of all of the Nintendo's stable of first-party titles. Right, Metroid series has been going on a dang long time. They've done some real good things with it. Yeah, I mean, aside from Other M, which is kind of but no accounting for taste sometimes. I don't know. I'm kind of excited for Metroid Dread. It's been forever since we've had an actual Metroid title, to say nothing of F-Zero or Star Fox. But you know, I'm excited to have something like that come out. Whether it's 2D or 3D, I don't care. People are just getting all bent out of shape for nothing again.
I had to clarify in chat that I'm not against it, but a lot of people are, which is why I had to emphasize that. Well, okay. So, Breath of the Wild 2. It looks great. We've seen a lot of interesting things since they let us know it exists, or it will exist at some point. We got a new trailer. It actually shows gameplay. I'm excited. I'm very excited. It basically looks like it's going to take a lot of the core mechanics of Breath of the Wild and allow you to do more things with them, which is good. Build upon the things that already work, because Breath of the Wild itself is a lovely sandbox game, and they already took a risk to do it. Don't back off from the risk. Keep going.
Lean into it.
So I'm really excited that a game that's actually a sequel in number and name is going to do that. So you get some more information on Breath of the Wild 2. Allegedly, it's still coming out soon-ish, maybe. I don't know. I don't look at release dates anymore because everything is so fluid. Everybody's moving things around, and honestly, don't do the crunch. I don't care. I can wait. But yeah.
What I'm worried about with Breath of the Wild 2 is that they're going to use this as a chance to push the new Switch refresh as a requirement. Which
we did talk about that in the past.
Yeah, we did. And it hasn't even been a rumor, honestly. It's just kind of a weird feeling I get about this kind of thing. Like, hey, the Switch has been out for 4 years, 5 years, something like
It was
that.
2017. Yeah.
Okay, so 4 going on 5.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another major series, a sequel to a major series that already had a release on the Switch. 4 years later, we're looking at a hardware refresh. I hope they're not gonna pull a new 3DS thing
They're gonna.
and have some.
It.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
gonna happen.
Like that's what makes me so worried about. So it's like, no, I mean, I don't play my Switch all that often, but I like it. I don't want to have to buy a new one to play this game I really want to play again. Like, come on. I'm sure I'm old man yelling at Cloud now, so whatever. It's just whatever. But please, Nintendo, don't do this.
All right. So, despite them not giving us any information on a new console or hardware refresh or anything, it's gonna happen. It's gonna be another situation where it's a new 3DS thing. I do disagree, though, that Botwa 2, it's not gonna require the new console. Instead, it's gonna be one of those things where it's enhanced by the new console, but you can still play it on the old one. Like, I don't think they're gonna pull off the whole, oh my god, you need the newest hardware thing, like, at launch. I don't think that's gonna be a thing. Because new 3DS kind of phased that in, too. Yeah. It's gonna happen. I hope it does happen. Like, I ended up getting the, I guess the Switch 1.5 last year because of the battery improvements. And of course, I haven't traveled, so it's sat in the dock the whole time. So what was the point? But yeah, there's going to be a hardware refresh. I'm going to buy it. But I don't foresee them having Switch 2 or whatever, Switch Pro, exclusive games for probably 12 to 18 months. They got to get people hooked on it first.
Right. Yeah.
And then they wean them off.
And to a lesser extent what the Wii did with their Motion Plus stuff as well, but
True.
nobody really remembers or cares about that anymore.
Okay, so you said Wii Motion Plus, and instantly in my head, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. No, seriously, like it's just all the times that we played that. Holy shit.
But it was so good, wasn't it? Like it was a really
and
good
I want to
game.
play it again. That's why I was saying, like, okay, in my head, I was prepping to have this conversation with you at some point so that I could come up and visit. And I was gonna be like, yo, wouldn't it be cool if we played with Wiimotes and we didn't put them through your ceiling?
Occasionally, I still do boot it up and do like a round of golf or something because it's really fun.
Yes,
it's really fun.
Yes. Wii Sports Resort, like, it was so perfect. Like, they have not been able to capture that again since then. All right, I'm gonna get off my soapbox to that before I go way off the rails. But anyway, so speaking about the Switch, users are reporting issues trying to access the eShop. Amazingly, because Nintendo didn't QA this apparently, after its most recent firmware update. So you just get a random connection error, like, "Hey, sorry, no." Meanwhile, Nintendo's just kind of like, "Oop."
Nintendo bad at online? Well, I never.
Yeah.
Oy.
But hey, so speaking of, sort of, I'm gonna kind of transition into Super Animal Royale here. So June 1st was the release of the Xbox version on Xbox Game Preview, which requires the Xbox Game Pass. There we go. Because everything in Game Preview requires the Game Pass. Fine. So it came out. It's lacking a lot of things. You cannot remap controller buttons. You can't do a whole lot of stuff. You can turn off crossplay. You cannot have parties between Steam and Xbox yet.
Ooh.
So I don't really know how they would implement that other than having like their own internal friend system or some such. So I'm not even going to speculate. Whatever. But with this in mind, the only reason that they didn't do other consoles first, allegedly, is because other consoles don't have a preview kind of thing like Xbox does or Steam Early Access. So it's still being rumored, discussed, whatever, that PS4, PS5, Switch, and Stadia are going to be coming in about 2 to 3 months, maybe. The devs keep saying a couple of months, but that can mean anything. So that is on the horizon. They did have their big update as part of that June 1 release, where it's the Shorelines update. You've probably seen me go totally nuts on the whole crustacean oscillation thing because they added crabs and shores and all sorts of map little things, and that song is so stupidly catchy. Like, everything that Jake writes is a catchy little loop, and you know how I kind of latch on to loops, so I ended up making a shitpost version of that. It was posted to Twitter if you want to go look at it at some point, but yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm still playing on controller. It behaves no differently on Xbox than it does on PC, playing on an Xbox Series 2 Elite controller. I will say that the Series 2 differs a lot from the Series 1 in good ways.
Sure does.
So thank you for convincing me to buy one. But regarding
sidebar to that real quick, sidebar to that real quick, since you mentioned the Series 2, have you had any issues with your right bumper yet?
No.
Okay.
Though I rarely use it. Well, that's not true. I use it to do weapon switching. So, let me look at it real quick. No, I haven't had issues with that.
Okay.
No.
I didn't for a long time, but it has started getting a little spongy, which seems to be a common thing. So be on the lookout for it as you use it more. But anyway, sorry to derail you there. That one's on me.
No, that's totally fine.
I'll put the tick in my column for that one.
Yeah, so basically what I ended up doing was I only kept two of the paddles on the back, the topmost ones on left and right, and I bound left trigger and right trigger to that. Because in game, by default, left trigger is move, or jump roll rather, and right trigger is to fire. So that basically allows me not to totally destroy my index fingers, and instead I can just use my middle fingers on the back, and it's a lot more natural motion because I'm not going like claws like a crab, even though this is a crab update. Haha.
Crab.
So anyway, no claw grip. No. But people are still bullying me into the whole keyboard and mouse thing. And unfortunately, a couple streams ago, my controller was on. I could get through the lobby screen, and as soon as I dropped into the pre-match countdown, it didn't do anything.
Well.
So I had to do keyboard and mouse. I actually made an excerpt of that stream and posted it to YouTube private. That's my first video, and I'm not going to do a YouTube channel of any sort, really. But you can see how badly it went. However, I went through 6 tier 2 armors, got 2 kills, and I got the last kill for the win. So
hey, there you go. That's what counts.
That's not going to happen every time.
It's like NASCAR. It's only the last lap that matters, right?
Yeah, pretty much. But so that happened. I've been streaming that game a whole lot lately. We'll get into the whole playing games thing later, but I ended up attempting to apply for their content creator thing, and I didn't meet their metrics this time, but the channel has been really, really popular lately with this game, so I'm looking forward to trying again at some point. Yay. I just got my stream summary, and I'm well above the average they're looking for, so I'm kind of hoping that that continues. So fingers crossed. But that's all the news I had.
All right, then we're getting into some Toonskis. Half an hour in. Wow, I don't recognize us going this quick through news.
Right? So this is a Zelda block because there was lots of good Zelda remixes this month. We're going to start with Brevity is Wit by Zas from The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, followed by The Mind Takes Flight by returning remixer Rebecca E. Tripp, who I try to have every time, from The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, and finally, again by Zas, My Old Kakariko Home from The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
All right, so that's a very extended fade out on that. My goodness, I didn't want to stop it prematurely, thinking there was like another little stab that got in there at the end, but well, no such luck this time. Well, since we were just talking about Super Animal Royale, and you seem to have played a whole bunch of it, why don't you go first on the gaming section here?
So I didn't start streaming this game until the end of May. And let's see what Twitch has to say about how much I streamed in the last month. Kind of curious. Let me bring up, where is that?
I don't know. I'd like to say that Twitch's UI is intuitive, but who are we kidding?
My God. Twitch, why is this so shitty? You're supposed to give me my insights. Where are they?
Hey, now leave them alone. They're a scrappy startup. They don't got the resources to be that kidding.
All right, channel analytics. Here we go. So the required metric for the content creator is 8 average viewers, and I'm at 8.3 according to Twitch.
Jeez,
and like 11 something according to twitchtracker.com, but
way beyond even the Twitch affiliate requirements.
Yeah, I mean, that's only 3, isn't it? I think. Okay. Where's the thing that tells me how much I've streamed?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, okay. My 30-day performance here. Yeah, I streamed 67.71 hours apparently. So there's that. Yeah, I've been basically doing this thing where it's like I'll stream on 4 weekdays, and if for whatever reason I have free time where I'm not doing a project or something, I can whatever the rest of the time. But yeah, no, it's been real fun. I've basically been playing squads and duos exclusively. I cannot tell you the last time I played a solo game because I like co-op stuff. You know this. Trying to think. Well, okay, I'll just give the spiel. So Super Animal Royale, it's been in early access for a little bit now. It was public beta, alpha, whatever, at the end of 2018. It's now on Xbox Game Previews of the 1st of June. Their website is animalroyale.com, and their Discord community is discord.gg/animalroyale. My community, which is the collection of folks that I've been squatting with and streaming and all sorts of stuff, is at discord.tormod.tv. We have quite the growing audience there because the game shot up in popularity a whole ton since the Xbox release. They've now hit more than 1.2 million total players, like having played the game. Their servers definitely got wrecked for the first couple weeks. They seem to have figured that out. The ping times have gone down a lot too, so whatever they're doing to distribute the load across different zones and stuff is working. Good job. I'd say it's a small team, but there's a lot of people who work at Pixile and Modus who just aren't on their Discord, so I don't actually know what their team size is, but it's been good. I enjoy it. It's really dynamic stream content because all the games are different all the time. The people that you play with, the weapons you find, where you decide to drop, all sorts of stuff. So there's a lot of opportunity to be social, and that's made it interesting stream content. So I really like the game. I'm level 231 now, I think, which is that number defies how terrible I still am at the game. So that's a really high number, but I'm also really bad at the game. But I like playing it, so I keep getting XP, and I'm usually carried by the people who are much better than me. So that's how it works out.
Is there a level cap, or is it just an accumulation of stuff as you go along?
It's basically just hey, it's like, I don't know, 4,500 XP per level after a certain point. It doesn't keep scaling. It's higher than new players, of course. How the leveling works in the game is basically once you get past level 90, there's really not a whole lot to get. There are some milestones that you can get at level 200 and 300. Basically, like, hey, you've met this thing, have a cosmetic. Everything in the game is cosmetic. It doesn't actually affect your ability to hit things or kill things or whatever. I mean, the stuff that you find on the ground in the battles, anybody can get. So you have differing weapons with differing rarities that do differing damage and stuff like that, but that's it. So how it works is every 10 levels, you just get another collection of animals that you can start working to unlock. And yay, that's it. There is somebody who's in the mid 4,000s for level, and that's like well above other people, but they just like constantly grind the game. They're at the top of unofficial leaderboards for a bunch of stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's a dynamic enough game where people are just kind of like, cool, I'm going to practice the skill, basically. Like, there's a bunch of weapons in the game. There's milestones for kills with those weapons, so you can get different weapon skins based on your skill, not things you buy. Of course, there's things you can buy if you want to support the devs and whatnot, but totally optional. But trying to think of what else I can really talk about with the game. I'm feeling a lot more confident playing it now, except when I go into solos. Like, I just don't like it. It's a totally different meta, much different feel. I don't like people being thirsty all the time. So, like, I'm just like, you know what? I want to chill, and if I die early, oh darn, I'm just going to shitpost on this call and have color commentary while people win, and I'm not. So it's a good time. I really like it quite a bit. Do you have any questions?
Well, I was gonna say Super Animal Royale Esports when, but
I mean, like, it's not there yet, but there are people who host tournaments, and the tournaments can have prizes. So the game has the capacity to have private matches with custom rules and things like that. If somebody wants to host an event, they need to contact the basically the community liaison. His name is Logan. You can contact him in their official Discord. Basically, be like, "Hey, I want to host an event, or I want to do this tournament, or I want to do these custom rules with 63 other people and just do this thing." And they'll give you access to make private matches with your own rules, and you give out the code to other people, and that's how they enter the match and that kind of stuff. So there's an increasing amount of events that are going on. Their Discord has an events channel that has a bunch of posts in there. They have an extremely healthy Russian community that has weekly kind of scrimmages and things like that with custom rules and stuff. So yeah, it's really taking off. And honestly, it's starting to get some attention from people who play other games that are more competitive. A lot of Fortnite players are giving up that game and coming over because it's just more what they're looking for, I guess. It's less toxic. I will say this, with the influx of so many people, it's keep things moderated. There's a lot of usernames that get around the filters. There's a lot of terrible chat that happens in the lobbies before games and things like that, but it's gone down a whole lot in the last maybe 4 to 7 days. Like, they're starting to get better with their moderation tools and automation. They're getting more mods. They're doing things. Like, they didn't have to do that before because the player base just wasn't that active, and now it is. So before, say maybe 2 to 3 months ago, it would be where you would join a lobby before a game and watch the timer tick down, and there would only be like 20, 30 people in there maybe, and 10 minutes before the match would start, you'd see the rest of it fill with bots. Now these days, you're lucky to see more than like 5-10 bots in a game. I noticed, though, I think with them trying to get more server stability, that they actually spread people out across more matches instead of getting all of the real players into one match and then having the server crap itself. So you are starting to see some more bots in the mix, but I think that's just with their player management and trying to get resources further spread out. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot more active than it was. There's a lot of people who play on Xbox now. Unfortunately, Xbox doesn't have keyboard and mouse support, so they can't really chat. So you have to go through this like weird Xbox friends thing and type with the controller on that. It's kind of dumb. But I don't know. Basically how it works for PC is like you can type in game, you can ping things with quick chat and things like that, but by and large, most people just have a Discord call. What I ended up doing with my community is we just have several voice channels for squads that are going on and text channels that are associated with them. So if people don't want to be on voice or something like that, they can at least listen in and type and things like that. So most people just don't even use the in-game thing, with the exception of just banter before matches. But yeah, the game is growing a lot. They're looking to add achievements into the game finally. It doesn't really have like Steam trading cards or anything like that yet because they haven't baked in any achievements, but it's kind of on their to-do. Along with Xbox now, where it's known for achievements and things like that. Like, I think that's giving them some impetus to do that. Yay.
But that's Super Animal Royale, huh?
Sure is.
The curse of popularity.
More super every release.
The curse of popularity, as more people come in, is that you suddenly discover gaps in what you got, whether that be servers or moderation or whatever.
Yep.
But hey, apparently it's a good problem to have, because more popularity, ostensibly more money, more development effort, etc., etc.
Yeah. When they signed on with Modus as their publisher, that gave them so much more opportunity to get out there to be seen. It was because of Modus that they were able to get out to consoles and like that. Like, it just blew up, essentially. As soon as they announced the console release a month ahead of time, so many more people came in on Steam. They knew that the game had crossplay, that they were able to start playing on Steam and then take their account and just sign in on Xbox and immediately start playing with all their progress, their DLC added to their account already. So yeah, it allowed them to dramatically increase their player base in a very short amount of time. So I'm happy for them. They put a lot of time into this game. It was very community-led, community-driven for the development efforts. A lot of people leave feedback in their feedback channels, and the devs allegedly take every item and put it in a list somewhere, and people report bugs that way. People report moderation issues that way. It's a very active community for the devs talking to the players, and that's been really nice because I get to see things that unfortunately we never really had an opportunity to do. Like, I'm hearing about weird shit that's happening with PlayFab on the back end for player management and things like that, because apparently that's a common system used for inventory and matchmaking and stuff. And it's just interesting because they're pretty transparent about stuff. Like, there's an unofficial group of people who maintain the wiki and things like that, and it's not too terribly difficult to get a dev just to drop a JSON with like all of the items that we were looking for in their property, so we can at least put them into the wiki with accurate info and stuff like that. So it's really nice. They are very hand in hand with the community, and I think that's what drew me to the game so much and wanting to be a part of something that would help it out. So yeah, it's a good time. If you are not familiar with battle royales like myself, or anything twin sticky, or even if you want to use keyboard and mouse and you're trying to get in on something that's WASD, very friendly. I'm starting to try to use keyboard a little more, trying to do the finger tango across WASD and moving diagonally and still trying to jump and hit all this other shit at the same time. I'm terrible at it, but this is the kind of game that would probably teach me how to do that well. I never got to play Doom, but it's the same kind of thing. You move back and forth, you strafe, and all sorts of stuff. So it's really good. I recommend it.
Yeah, maybe I'll try it at some point. I was never really a big fan of battle royale type style thing. It's just not my genre. But
what was the game that we played together? Wrath of the... is something God something or other.
Realm of the Mad God, perhaps?
Yeah, there we go. Realm of the Mad God. That was chaotic.
Yeah,
that was
certainly.
That was a much more sparse map, but it was the same kind of thing. So if you like something that has a lot more structure, but still has the same kind of thing going on, but also has the whole like, hey, we're getting a circle that closes in and it kind of forces matches to end. Honestly, it's pretty good. Like, there's a lot of furry people who end up playing the game, but a lot of people who aren't. There's a lot of representation from a lot of people who play games across different genres, and for a lot of people, it's their first battle royale and kind of foray into games like this. So it's been pretty cool. Lots of different skill levels out there.
Yeah, fair. Maybe I'll put that on my list to pick up at some point.
Sure. I'm almost done convincing Eon
Ah,
because I had some plans. I don't want to spoil things because I know people who watch my stream are watching this right now, but plans.
very good.
Uh-huh.
Plans trademark.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Well, I'll put it on my list of 500 other games I should really play, right? Well,
Absolutely.
that's probably
Add it to
a
your
low
account.
number.
It's free. Then you can like see it every time you go through the Steam library shuffler. You're like, hey, I need to play that.
Yeah. And then forget about it for a while, and then hey, I need to
Right?
play that.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
I'm with you on that one.
but as far as stuff I've actually played in the past month or so, I did finish up Curse of the Dead Gods late May. I didn't quite get through the latter half of the game. It proved to be a little bit too difficult for the time. But again, probably owing to my very aggressive play style and my refusal to take things cautiously, as it were. But it is a very fun game. I'd kind of paint it as similar to Hades, but more considered combat-wise. Because Hades to me always felt like very button mashy. Like you could get through something, you just tap the button a little bit faster and you'll be fine. But Curse of the Dead Gods, you have 3 weapons. Each weapon has 2 different attack modes. You can chain attacks together and all that. But while some of your weapons are while you're going through the animation of it, you're vulnerable. So you gotta be very tactical about what you do. Some of them are really slow, and you got to be careful for that, like 1.5 second windup or whatever, which doesn't sound like a lot of time, but it's really a lot of time when you're staring at your character and being like, okay, well, I'm out for 1.5 seconds. What can I do next?
That's about the reload time for the minigun in SAR, and oh god, it feels like an eternity.
Oh yeah, and that adds up real quick, especially when you're the one playing it. It's just like, oh, okay, I didn't realize this was okay. Well, now I'm dead. All right, let me think about how to do that better next time.
Exactly.
But that's my favorite sort of game, like the very crunchy systems, and then the very kind of considerate, almost delicate and dance-like gameplay is really, really cool to me. Like you have to consider your moves, but when you kind of get into the flow of things, it's really smooth and really cool. It feels good to really play well.
Yeah, good movement is really satisfying. And if you can get a game that combines movement and the ability to apply skill and technique to it, so that with your finesse you're able to do more, and you can actually take advantage of that, that's really cool.
Yeah, so Curse of the Dead Gods, I'm done with it on stream, but I'll probably still continue to play it off and on a little bit because I really want to finish the final like 2 or 3 levels I have to do, and then call it good. But boy howdy, it was a really fun game. That was like a good 4 or 5 week one, which doesn't happen all too often because I got a lot of games to get through. But when you find a good one, you find a good one. Then after that, I played House of the Dying Sun. This game was originally called Enemy Starfighter, and I had the first opportunity to play this back in, I want to say it was 2015 at PAX Prime when we went. It was one of the few like really good VR games at that particular show.
Yep, I remember you like dragging me over there.
Oh, it was great.
It was one of the first ones I had ever actually had a chance to play too.
Yeah, and in fact, now this anecdote is coming back to me. When I got done playing it at the show in 2015, the main dev was sitting there. He was watching. He was like, "Wow, you're really good. Have you played this before?" I'm like, "No, man." But anyways, I'm sure it's changed a lot since the initial prototype of Enemy Starfighter. But it was a really fun game. It's not really a 6-DoF. It's more of a space combat flight sim, but kind of more physics based. So you have to take into account your inertia, your engine strength, what kind of weapons you're using, and maneuver appropriately. And you kind of come into each space battle with a small fleet of ships, but you can only control the smallest fighters. But you have support ships kind of behind you, and you can give them orders throughout the fight to like, hey, go attack this capital ship over here, or hey, give me cover fire over here. And
okay, so you basically give them orders to do stuff to support you while you move around.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then you can jump between the smaller, like you get up to 3 smaller fighters at a time. You can jump between them at any time.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's like
can you automate some of their stuff? Like you start in action and then move over to something else?
Yeah, and then you can pause and give new orders at any time. So it's like a mix of an RTS and a space flight sim fighter type thing, which is a really interesting mix, and they handle it pretty well. And each level, each mission, like only lasts like 3 minutes. So it's real quick to get in there, do your thing, and get the heck out. Because eventually, the enemies are really angry at you, and they want you to go away immediately.
Please die.
Yeah, exactly. So you get in there, you do your mission, and you better get the F out, a dodge, otherwise you're dead. But it's really fun. It was really fun. Plus, they have a daily challenge type thing where it's go until you die, essentially. Which I love those sorts of modes because those get to be like, instead of, 3-4 minute missions, it turns into 30, 40, 50 minutes, and you're sweating, and claw grip is starting to tighten up, and it's just like, it's an adrenaline rush, and I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's absolutely a you thing. Very quick, very, oh no, this thing blew up in my face and I'm done. Let's go do it again.
Yep, exactly. Like, oh,
is there
maybe
a leaderboard?
There is.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, it's a very new game then.
Rolls over every day, and I was proud to say I got number 2 one day and number 3 another day, and it kind of bopped between the two for future days as well. It was quite good. That was a shorter one though, only about 2 weeks, because the campaign was relatively short, and then of course the challenge mode, daily challenges type thing were a little rough on the old heart sometimes, so can't play too much of that at any given stretch. But right now I'm playing Black Future 88, which is a side-scrolling action platformer roguelike. Very glitchy, glitchy style, not glitchy, although I have run into a couple glitches. Very cyberpunky aesthetic, electronica, neon lights, and it's very chunky pixels and all that sort of stuff. So, beautiful visuals, awesome audio. I'm not very good at it. I tend to get wrecked more often than not. But again, aggressive playstyles meets perhaps maybe more cautious moves required. But nah, that's not as fun. But I'm still trucking with that.
That's absolutely my style of gameplay, though. Like, and then die.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, if you're not there for the spectacle, what are you even doing there? I mean, nobody wants to live forever.
I'm there for comic relief, so.
Exactly. But still going with that one, looking to put another week at least into it. If I get marginally better, maybe more than a week. We'll see how I'm feeling at the end of it. On the SBC side of things, our new shmup for June is Space Megaforce. Everybody's been having a good time with this one. Of the 10 people we have logged on our leaderboards, 9 have all clears throughout the entire game, which is fantastic. Like, that's pretty impressive. I'm scrolling through some of our other ones have been 3 out of 8, 3 out of 7, 2 out of 5, with all clears. All clear being you've completed the game essentially. With 1 credit without continuing. So everybody's been real cool with that. The scores have been pretty widespread, from 7.5 million, that's me, down to 5.7 million for the all clears. So quite a spread. We've been swapping a lot of strategies between us, which weapon selections have been good. Even some routing through some of the levels, which is kind of weird given that this is a Super Nintendo game. Like, you don't think about a SNES shmup being routable. But it's a really fun game. And what's interesting about this one is, like a lot of typical shmups, you have a variety of different weapons that you can choose from. The key thing about Space Megaforce is that all of them seem to be usable. Like, usually you just have like 1 or maybe 2 that do the job, right? But all 8 of these really have their own separate uses in different sections of the game. And what I found with our set of players, our set of 10 or 11 or whoever happens to be playing, is that everybody's got a different preferred weapon, and we all score pretty well, and we all clear the game with it. So
cool.
Really well designed game. Really well designed game. I'm going to be
familiar with this concept,
right? Exactly. I'm really going to be sad when June expires and it's no longer on the roster, but very, very, very fun. Other SBC shenanigans are April through June. Second quarter game remains Ray Force. I did plug a few more credits into that one. I haven't gotten any better. I'm still sitting at number 2 on our boards for that for now, so we'll see how that shapes out. And then our kind of quarter and a half for May through July is R-Type Delta. One of the better R-Type entries, I think, is the general consensus on this one. This was for PlayStation 1, so very polygonal, very unfiltered textures, but very, very neat, all things considered. And it's kind of the R-Type Genesis as well, which are, I think, by and large, competently made shmups. Some of the R types can get very rude, hence rude type moniker we give to some of them. But it's a fun game regardless. For my Sunday long plays, I've been focusing down on Spelunky 2, trying to get to the final good ending, I suppose, the final zone. Haven't quite gotten to that yet. I made it as far as getting to the final boss before entering the final zone, and I screwed it up.
Oh.
I immediately died, which was very sad. But everybody's been having fun with that. That's one of my more popular stream ones as well, is Spelunky 2, and everybody shows up and everybody has a good time. And of course, again, this is another case where, you know, maybe I could be consistently good at it if I was cautious and I took my time. But it's just not my play style. You can't be cautious. You gotta run. You gotta do it. But that's gonna continue to be my long play for a long time yet, because I want to get to the final zone. I want to see what it's all about. I've been trying to avoid spoilers as to what it is. I mean, I know the name of it. It's called the Cosmic Ocean. I know it's more or less an endless part of the game. Once you get that far, you can go up to, let's see, what zone is it? 899, I think. So 8-99, and then that's considered the end. But, you know, an hour into a run, I can't even get up to the dang thing. So we'll see. We'll see if that 99 really takes effect for me. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I look forward to Sunday nights every time because of that.
Heck yeah.
And then Saturday grab bags last week. I did an LTTP rando, but I used a new tracker and a different emulator, and I managed to get auto tracking working on it. With Open Tracker and an USB to SNES, virtual USB to SNES socket emulator.
Okay.
I forget what it's called exactly, but it hooks up to the emulator and then it hooks up to the tracker, and it uses WebSockets to communicate, like exactly what we were thinking of earlier, right? So it really works well. And plus, the tracker has a thing for key sanity and entrance rando and all these other cool things. So, you know, instead of my plans to kind of update the tracker I used to use on my own, hell, I'm just going to use this one. It already does all the hard things for me. So I might try it again tomorrow, in fact, for this upcoming grab bag. I have to make a few tweaks to the layout and do all that stuff. But it's really fun because I don't have to tab out and click on boxes anymore. I can just let it do its thing, and everything will be fine.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What's the emulator?
RetroArch, in fact.
Oh, okay.
RetroArch with the BSNES Mercury core. It needed a very specific core to use the auto tracking on it, but seems to run great. I mean, BSNES on its own is a fantastic emulator. The Mercury core is built for higher performance and more accurate emulation, and then they've got the networking side of things hooked up through RetroArch itself, which handles the tracking portion. Very cool. Very, very cool. I was kind of hoping I was going to be able to find an emulator that did it other than SNES 9X with Lua scripting support or whatever. Because nothing against SNES 9X, but come on. We've advanced a little bit in the emulation scene the past few years. Come on. We can do better. But yeah, so that's been fun. Might do another one of those tomorrow. We'll see what happens next week. It's grab bag for a reason. You know, don't really decide until the day of. But yeah, that's been about what I've been playing the past month or so. Quite a list. My goodness.
Awesome.
Almost like I'm a gamer.
Gamer.
But I think for now it's time for some more Toon Skis.
All right.
So let's start off with a remix from Streets of Rage 2 entitled Strike a Pose by McVaff. Then a remix from FTL Faster Than Light entitled Giant Alien Spiders by 744. And then finishing off with a remix from Mega Man 3 entitled Hard Knuckle Swing by George R. Powell. right, are we ready to roll the dice and see what genres and themes we're working with tonight? This is the ad hoc design section, by the way, folks.
This is the D20 that I use to determine which character I select of 20 in SAR for a channel point reward. Anyway, you said dice, so I had to. All right, let's bring up Baroque Creations. All right.
Yep. So for the uninitiated, this is the section of the show where we pick some random themes and some random genres. Well, we don't pick them. A program online picks them. And then we try to make a game around it. This supplanted our previous ad hoc design section, I'll say like 4 or 5 months ago now. It was a thing for the new year, really. We tried to switch something up, and it seems to be working out pretty well, so we're going to keep going with it.
Yeah, so I ended up not really preparing a game one time because I just wasn't feeling it. So I was like, I'm going to do this thing. And then I made a game last minute given the genres and themes that this thing gave me. But this is the Baroque Creations genre generator, as they call it. So it chooses from a wide variety of genres and themes. It can give you 1, it can give you 5, it can give you a whole bunch of things at the same time. We are allowed 3, but we can't go back to ones that we've already chosen to pass up. So if we don't like the first one, which I don't think we ever have, we roll again to get the second one. And if that one's still terrible, we roll again to get the third, and that's it. That's all we can do. And we did that last time because the first 2 were just uninspired. And the third one was different.
It was different. It wasn't the weirdest one we had to do. I'd still say the weirdest one we did was the erotic vacation simulator one.
The one from 2 months ago.
Yep.
So yeah, all of our episodes are posted on zerohour-productions.net. If you go to the insert credits page, you can go and eventually listen to them. Cough, cough.
Yeah. After this one,
you can watch the VODs if they're still up. But yeah, so our ad hoc sections with this thing have gotten real spicy. So are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Okay.
So
the first roll has 4 genres and 2 themes.
All right.
Genre number 1, sports sim, specifically not racing.
Not racing.
Yes, it says that in parens.
I'm already kind of side-eyeing this one, but proceed.
Genre 2, roguelike.
Okay. Wow, that's a big turnaround. All right.
Genre 3, business sim.
Oh no, it's a roller coaster of ideas.
Mr. Tycoon. Genre 4, deathmatch.
Oh no. Okay, well, what are the themes?
Number 1, articles.
Oh,
I don't know. That could be very loosely interpreted.
Yeah,
Thank you, English language. And number 2, revenue. Business sim.
It matches business, doesn't it?
Uh-huh. Bijinesu desu.
Huh. Okay. Well, I don't know. I can get a couple ideas from this, but the one that kills it for me is the sports sim, honestly. That's the one that makes me get the sad face.
Yeah, and it's the first one.
I know, right? So I'm cool with a reroll on this one. I think 2 chances at getting something better than that is a pretty good odds. I'm willing to roll those dice again.
All right.
Oh no, did it get worse?
Honestly, this one could be real interesting. So it has 2 genres and 2 themes.
All right.
Okay. Genre number 1, wagon adventure.
All right. Very good.
Genre 2, maze.
All right. Okay.
So it's a wagon adventure in a labyrinth.
Okay.
Love it.
Can get down with
Minotaurs and everything. Oh, the Minotaurs could be driving the wagons.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ooh, they probably wouldn't. I don't know if they'd like wagons. That. They would probably be the ones like in the wagons, and the humans would be.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Depends.
The themes.
Themes, though, number 1, scenes.
Scenes. Okay.
And number 2, criticism.
Criticism.
I don't know, man.
Wow. Huh. Like, I feel there's more of a game here than the last roll. But boy, do we want to risk that third roll again? Like, it got real spicy last time with that final roll. And
It was fun.
We somehow made it work.
We did.
But boy, if we get like another sports sim roll or something, that could be real bad.
I'm pretty sure that was the first one that ever had sports sim, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know. What do you think? I kind of razzed the first one here. So what's your opinion on this setup?
Let's roll the dice.
Okay.
Or the die, rather.
Yeah.
We're going to die.
We're all gonna die.
Okay. This one is extremely your wheelhouse. I think this one's a winner.
Okay. All right.
We don't have much choice.
Yeah, we don't.
3 genres, 1 theme.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Yep.
Genre 1, story-centric. I know I said it's your thing. Shut up and do it.
All right. Story-centric. Very good.
Number 2, light gun.
Oh, all right. That's better.
Or excuse me, sorry. Number 2 is action. Sorry.
Action.
And number
Okay.
3
Is
was
light
light gun
gun.
slash point and shoot. Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. What's the theme?
This is the major mechanic of the game. It writes itself. The theme is reflection.
Uh-huh. Very good.
Light gun, reflection.
Reflection. Story-centric action light gun slash point and shoot with reflection. Okay. All right. Can make that work. We can make that work. All right. So I guess my opening question here is, how literally do we want to take reflection?
I mean, this could be a philosophical thing. It could be pointing at mirrors. It
Right.
Could be
See, I seized on the mirror part.
What's that?
I seized on the mirror portion of that for the literal
of course,
reflection. Yeah.
Something. It's going to be laser tag with a mirror shield or something. I don't know.
Oh. I was thinking like the internal philosophical debate, like, hey, you're looking into a mirror, you have to blast away your own negative energy or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
something weird like that.
There's your story. Haha, we're done.
I mean, yeah. Look at the darkness within yourself and shoot it away. I don't know. Maybe. Phew. Okay.
That's a little lame. That is extremely early 90s. Have your basic story thing.
It sure is. Yeah, it's like shoot, what was the one? Fatal Frame, I think, is the one I was thinking of, where you took
I've heard of the game.
Weird pictures of ghosts and shit, and it's like, I don't know. I think that was is that PS1 or PS2? I don't know. Early PS era. But okay.
System Shock. No.
System Shock was dark.
Yeah, I never actually played it. I've been told I need to, but I digress.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, story centric is the big loser in that list. Well, whatever. We'll make it work. We kind of have to. Action, light gun, point and shoot. Reflection. Okay. I think I like your idea about the mirror shields better, though.
I was just throwing that out.
That's more action-y than what I was thinking of, thankfully.
So what I was kind of thinking about was I have this whole labyrinthine thing stuck in my head.
Okay.
So using light and the ability to cause reflections and refractions to solve puzzles to allow you to continue onward. And as you do that, you're discovering fragments of a story which at the end of the game ends up being a reflection of yourself. I'm thinking like weird kind of Eternal Darkness-y vibes without the like crazy eldritch horrors. But puzzles like that kind of thing. What was another game? I remember I don't remember what the game was, but there was a room where you had to adjust 3 different mirrors to get a point of light across something. And it like made this model train go or some such. I swear I was watching you play it. It was fairly HD.
Was it Silent Hill Shattered Memories? Was that part of one of the things? I know there were a few light focused puzzles in that.
Yeah, I kind of had that thought, but it was not high def enough for that. That was Wii 480i.
Yeah, true enough.
I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know, something like that. Um, I'll even take a page out of Pathways into Darkness's book. Like, oh no, you were on this investigation or excavation mission or something, and your plane got downed, and you wake up in the bottom of this pyramid, and you have to solve all these puzzles and work your way through without dying until you can get out and set a bomb or some shit like that. That's basically the story of Pathways into Darkness
Right.
minus all the aliens.
Right. So let's maybe take that a little bit more generic. You have to progress
Sure.
through a labyrinthine area. Is this kind of like a Is this kind of like a self-describing story where how you the puzzles that you solve and how you choose to solve them writes kind of the reflection bit at the end?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. So
Okay.
I had the idea. So you're given many opportunities to choose different methods of doing something. You may have an opportunity to, I don't know, there's something that's clearly evil and you can defeat them. And if you don't, it'll come back to bite you later. But if you're given an opportunity to do the same for something that really doesn't pose a threat and you're not really sure if it's bad and you choose to do something bad to it, then it will reflect on you later. That kind of thing. I don't know. Just like Mass Effect, except not.
Except actually valid commentary. What? Okay, so progress through a labyrinthine area to escape a nameless evil, I guess. We don't have tendency to use evil too much, but hey, we can use it now.
So I'm trying to think of a good way to describe this. So a force of some sort. We don't know if it's good or evil or what its intention is. We don't know if it's a thing, a person, a monster, anything like that. But just this like overwhelming force that's making us do this thing. And we're not sure what the objective is. And we learn at the end because of how the story wrote itself, like, this is what you were supposed to do. You failed. You die now. Or
right.
some such. I don't know.
So move through a labyrinthine area to escape a nameless unknown force, but be careful with how you progress, as it may reveal things about yourself that you don't like.
Uh-huh.
All right. That's as good as
Let's
story
inflict
take.
psychological damage upon all of our players.
Right. So this almost sounds FPS-y, right? If we're doing light gun point and shoot sort of things, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Whilst we were discussing that, I kind of wrote a quick thing about mechanics. Solve puzzles using light, reflection, refraction, mixing, etc.
Oh shit! No. Oh fuck! What was the name of that game? You played it not too long ago. It wasn't the thing I described, but you had to do a bunch of puzzles and also not die at the same time. It was kind of first-person-y, but you had to do puzzles. Some of it was outside in a courtyard, and some of it was inside.
Talos Principle.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing I'm thinking of here now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an action puzzle game.
Yes. Action puzzle. Yeah, we got that. Okay, so then from what I'm hearing, then it's single, one player, right?
Yeah.
One player story.
I mean, I'm trying to think of a way that you could get a second player in there. Essentially, you'd have to have a mode where it's co-op and your puzzles would differ based on the amount of players that are playing. I think maybe 1 to 2 players. I think that could be cool.
Okay. Where co-op kind of changes the... how would that change? Oh, you could be responsible for each other's psychological horror.
Guess.
Psychological horror on each other. Very good. We can go with that. Input method. I mean, sounds kind of standard. Either if we're targeting PC, like twin stick or keyboard mouse. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Or controller / twin stick controller. Yeah. Okay. Graphic style, audio style.
I think that the audio style and the graphic style are going to go extremely hand in hand. Right. I think this kind of game would be... I think it would be more appropriate for the mood that I want if it were realistic 3D renderings of things and it had a lot of detail. Because I think the attention to detail that might bring out some Myst-like elements, I think would really influence player decisions. Like, if they didn't notice something subtle, sure, they can solve a puzzle, but they missed out on this big thing. And they won't know about it because they just never got the first clue. That kind of stuff.
Okay. Realistic, detailed set pieces with subtle clues throughout.
I would say so.
Can we call that Myst-like? Is that allowed?
Sure. I mean, it basically defined a genre.
Right. Okay. Audio style. Since we're using more visual than oral cues.
I mean, music puzzles though. Maybe not even necessarily music, but being aware of being in a certain area and noticing how the ambient sound changes or something.
So maybe reactive to player actions or puzzle attempts and solutions?
I would say positional audio too. That would make a big difference in the 3D space that I'm trying to go for.
Reactive to player actions and puzzle attempts or solutions. Okay. Good?
Yeah, I like that.
Point of view, we got FPS-ish. Story and hook, we wrote that like B-movie tagline not too long ago. Inventory. Well, a literal light gun. Right?
Yeah, I would say so.
And what else? Do we want to complicate that even further? Because there's a lot you can do with just environmental stuff with this.
And I mean, like, I don't really know if I want to focus on literally being a light gun all the time. Like, I want there to be other implements that make things go. Like, maybe the light gun is the last resort as I don't know how to do this, and this is an easy way to finish the puzzle.
Okay.
Like, that could just be the cop-out mode or some such.
So player has literal light sources like flashlights, candles, glow sticks.
Yeah.
Glow sticks, and also a light gun as a force solve this puzzle. Say force puzzle solver. Brute force puzzle solver.
Pretty much. Yeah, like, hey, this light gun / laser is so strong it'll just burn a hole through this door and suddenly you can reach and open it or whatever.
Light gun as a brute force puzzle solver. I can see this being a limited resource to get past things that you don't want to deal with, but also like in an assist mode or something it could be infinite.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
I can see this being a major mechanic in speedruns, of course. Which makes me wonder if this should be static level design or some static with some dynamic. I think that would probably be a good mix. Maybe not necessarily always be proc gen,
right?
But have some elements that are static so people at least understand that part and can master that, and then use their mastery to go forth with the other stuff that does get generated.
Right. I think it's like maybe the primary initial campaign that people go through that generates the reflective story at the end. Like a static setup for that would be a lot easier to do, certainly, to write something compelling, right? And then you have your challenge or endless mode or whatever it happens to be that does all these
an endless mode in this would be really interesting.
Things. Yeah, right.
And I think people should be rewarded with a more interesting story that comes as a result of that, much more detailed. So the longer that they play, the more their story was written, I guess. I think that would be interesting.
Okay.
But I mean, like, yeah, there's probably a campaign where it's like, okay, so you have campaign mode where you have 15 puzzles or something like that, but you also have a mode where it's like, play as long as you can, and if at the end you just give up, then that's where it ends.
Okay, so I think that goes probably under mechanics then, right? Solve puzzles using light.
Yeah.
The longer you play.
Or other things too, like you may find an arrow that you'd be able to knock a chandelier down or some shit like that. Or I don't know. But I mean, like, light is definitely something that's a prevailing theme. I wouldn't want to make it like the only thing.
Right. You solve puzzles using light either as direct sources or indirect solutions, I guess is a pretty good way to put it. The longer you play, the longer your story is at the end. Okay, then objective, escape the labyrinth. Is there really any other objective? To discover the truth about yourself?
I mean, let's actually take that for a second. So, obviously, reflection we're trying to use as a double entendre, except not really. But you get the point. So maybe not necessarily discover the truth about yourself, but how do I describe this without sounding weird? Reveal more about why you make the decisions you do. So I think the storytelling device that the story that kind of writes itself that is presented to the player at the end would best be done in describing what you did and the effect that it had, but how it, you know what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. Escape the labyrinth and discover your motivations?
Yeah, kind of. And then maybe also how you changed over the time of going through it, too. Like, maybe you were really scared at first, and you were trying your best to avoid something, and you had... I don't know, like, something rushed you, and your first reaction was to, like, try to kill it or something like that, but as you went on, you realized, hey, if I just back away and evade and reconsider... instead of just having a fight or flight response right away, then that changes how you would approach these kinds of things. I don't know. Like,
confront the changes within yourself.
Replayability would come in the ability for the game to give you something descriptive and concrete about your playstyle. Instead of just really generic stuff, I think that the story should change dramatically, maybe not dramatically, but have details in there like, hey, so initially blank, but as you learned more about blank, you became more blank, that kind of thing. And it would kind of tie those two different gameplay styles together with that segue. And at the end, maybe offer some sort of, I don't want to say fortune, but like a philosophical question for you to consider based on how you went through the game.
Right. So maybe...
So those would probably be written already. Like here, you'd have a pool of like 150 questions or something like that. But yeah, like...
So at first...
I would want to end it on a question like, wouldn't you blah?
So at first you started out...
that would just kind of fade out and go back to the title screen or some such.
So at first you start out like maybe brute forcing more solutions than you would typically do, but then as you progressed, you would consider alternate angles to things and maybe be more patient than aggressive, or I don't know. It's hard to describe. Yeah, but I see what you're going for. So, okay. Escape the labyrinth and discover your motivations, confront the changes within yourself. That's the objective, huh?
I mean, I think the objective might be even more refined by going through the game how you did. It prompts you to consider your rationale and how you change over time based on other things happening. I don't know. My vocabulary just kind of went at the end there. But yeah, I think you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I do. So now that takes us to the hardest part of all this, is getting a title.
Um,
I can think of
oh,
something
a
kind of
one-word
stupid.
title, something like Ponder or Ponderous or whatever. What did you have in mind?
I had something really stupid in mind. Mirror, mirror.
I mean, that's not bad. That honestly kind of reminds me of, um, shit. Studio from the early 90s that did a lot of puzzle point-and-click games. I don't remember, but it reminds me of the kind of title that they would choose. It definitely reminds me of an early 90s PC game.
Right, yeah, sure. I mean, we got point and click, light gun, mist like. It's very, well pedigreed, I suppose. But all right, okay. So story centric, we got it, right? Action, action. Did we cover action? We kind of did roundabout, right? Trying to escape this unknown force or whatever. So this isn't like Myst in so much as you can sit there forever and do your thing, right?
Yeah.
You have to move with some sort of urgency.
Yeah.
So there's...
Oh, hey, there's an idea for you. You have to get out of this whatever it is by the time the sundial hits blank. There you have more influence on light then too.
Okay. Yeah. And that would change some of your solutions later on, right? If you get there later than earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly. I think so.
Okay. Set the addition to mechanics then, and the longer you take the how to put this, the longer you take the less light you have to work with, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose so.
To work with. Escape before the sundial reaches a certain time, I guess, right?
Or maybe even just escape before sunset.
Yeah, that's
and the sundial is just a means of telling you, hey, this is how much time you got left.
Yeah, that you have to work with. And then in your inventory is a portable sundial.
Why not?
There we go. Okay. Good. All right, so story-centric, obvious. Action, move your butt. Light gun, point, shoot, covered. Reflection, covered in literal and metaphorical senses. 1 to 2 players, co-op may inflict psychological horror on each other. Static campaign and an endless mode afterwards. Input method, keyboard, mouse, or twin stick controller. Graphic style, realistic, detailed set pieces with subtle clues throughout, aka Myst-like. Audio style, positional, reactive to player actions and puzzle attempts and solutions. Point of view, FPS. I guess just first person. There's no FPS really. There's no S in that FPS, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Story hook, move through a labyrinthine area to escape an unknown force, but be careful with how you progress as it may reveal things about yourself that you don't like. Pretty good tagline. Inventory, player has literal light sources, flashlights, candles, glow sticks, etc., and also a light gun as a brute force puzzle solver for limited use or as an assist mode option, and a portable sundial. Mechanics, solve puzzles using light, reflection, refraction, mixing, etc., either as direct sources or indirect solutions. The longer you play, the longer your story is at the end. And the longer you take, the less light you have to work with. And then finally, the objective, escape the labyrinth and discover your motivations. Confront the changes within yourself. Escape the labyrinth before sunset.
There you go.
But that's the first bit. Okay. Well, I think that's definitely way better than a sports sim would have been.
Yeah, no. I'm going to try to avoid that till the end of time.
And what was the I don't even remember what our middle choices were anymore. Couldn't have been too inspired if they're not memorable. But boy howdy, we got
trust my memory anyway. So
yeah, also that. We got kind of lucky with this third roll though. That
oh yeah.
That RNG favored us. That's not going to last. Eventually, we're going to get stuck with something real bad as a final roll, and then we're going to have to do some work. some actual work to get ourselves out of it.
I mean, that's what people are here for, to watch us suffer.
Right. Well, yeah. It's the voyeur mode of streaming and podcasting, right?
Ooh.
But cool. It's called Mirror Mirror. I like that name more now, actually. I do. It sounded kind of silly at first, but I do like it now. But hey, that another good design. Great. I'm proud of us.
Yeah, same. No, that was great. And we're even done under 2 hours.
I know. Wow. Jeez, what happened to us? What have we done? Do we want old us back? That goes for 3.5, 4 hours. Probably not. Those were some rough shows sometimes.
I was gonna say, get me floss unraveling and we can go.
All right. That brings us to the end. Yeah, I know. That brings us to the end of Insert Credits Round 91 here. Is there any other bits of wisdom we want to impart upon our wonderful audience? Either live or in the archives later on.
Be good to each other.
Yeah, all right. That's solid advice regardless, I think.
We need a lot of that.
Be good to each other. Absolutely. Well, with that, I want to thank you all for joining us. It's been fun as always. For Insert Credits, I am MrBond.
I'm Tormod.
We'll leave you with our typical closing track, a remix from Mario Kart Wii entitled Wind in Your Hair by Overclocked University. Good night, everybody.
Ciao.